Hello everybody and welcome to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I'm here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. I feel like I'm losing my voice, but I'm not. I think I'm just kind of tired. I have a newborn. I've got these other adorable children, but I'm just exhausted. Like, don't look too close because my sweater is actually inside out. And I know my makeup looks crazy. I try. Today, you guys, we are going to be covering the Real Housewives of Potomac, the burn session run by Miss Dr. Wendy Osefo, who's actually giving me life this season, and I could never say that about any of her previous seasons. I think this is her third season, and I do think in the third season, a housewife starts to kind of marinate in their housewifeness. First season's like where they really try to show the world what they think the world wants to see. And then the second season, they do their kind of glow up. The facade that they try to put on in the first season starts to unravel as we get to know them a little bit better. They do hang around for a third season. They are like almost completely comfortable with looking a little unraveled. And so you get these little moments from them where they're just like,
but she's lying, so who cares? We all know she's lying.
I honestly feel like she would have never said that in season one because she would have been trying to put on Dr. Wendy at all times with the producers in front of the camera. But now we're getting some little moments where Wendy's just sort of like, oh, whatever. Like, this is my life now. Like, love it or leave it alone sort of vibes. And I'm loving it. Let's jump right in.
Service with flatbreads for you.
Thank you. I'm gonna pass around the papers and a pen.
Okay.
Take one, pass it down. I like theatrics. The burn session.
Goodbye.
Is about to commence.
Okay.
So first,
now, I wanted to start the scene with this moment because it is honestly my favorite moment of the season. This is when Candiace says goodbye. She just seems kind of over it in general, I think because of what she's going on with her IVF journey. I just think there's a lot going on, the Chris Bassett stuff. There's a lot going on with Candiace right now. So she's just like, she's not having it. She's not playing the games. What I loved about this moment though so much was the editors cut her goodbye in the middle of Wendy's sentence. So dismissive, so rude. Wendy's trying to have some fun and Candiace is just not having it. I loved it. Again, I don't know when that goodbye came. Maybe it came in after she finished her sentence. Editors can play with dialogue. So if that wasn't where it went, but they created a space for it to go in, it's actually a really funny way to present that line as opposed to just having it be presented maybe when Wendy was finished. My guess though is exactly when it happened because Candiace is just so funny like that. Okay.
so first in the hot seat will be me.
Okay.
Since we don't want this to be a pylon, I'll add an extra layer. If you don't.
So you can see they kind of cut to some of the women eating. They cut to Ashley eating and kind of unsuccessfully. They cut to Robyn eating when, you know, Wendy says it's going to be me. Now, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on why you think they cut to the ladies eating. I feel like obviously they want to show atmosphere, they want to show people are eating, but there's so many different reasons to cut to things. I feel like it's the action of like when someone sips tea, when they are about to say something shady or when something shady is going down. I think it's almost like showing a subtext of shadiness going on inside their heads. So what do you guys think when they cut to women eating, besides the obvious that they're just showing atmosphere? Do you feel like there's some sort of double meaning going on like me? Let me know in the comments.
You don't feel as though you have something bad to say. You can speak positivity into them or thank them for something they have done for you in your life.
Yeah, I got nothing nice.
Okay, so there it is. To me, that was sort of the context that was going on behind Robyn when she was taking that bite. Wendy's doing her thing, like presenting exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And then they cut to Robyn with that kind of hilarious reaction shot. And now here she is in her confessional explaining what's going on in her head as all of this is going down.
To say, so I'd rather just not say anything.
Okay, so I'll start.
Okay, thank you.
So while I've wanted to be close to you and develop a friendship with you, I've always felt like you had like a barrier up. But I feel like today we penetrate.
Okay, so as Ashley's talking, they're cutting to different parts of the meal going on and things kind of happening. This is coverage, you guys. Obviously, it's important what Ashley's saying, but if they were to just train the camera straight on Ashley and have her just talk about, you know, what she's about to say to Wendy, it wouldn't be that exciting. So we have to kind of spice it up. And also this coverage makes it easy for them to cut down what Ashley's saying. I don't know how long she talked here, but it's a very succinct kind of sentence or sentences that she says in, you know, her addressing Wendy. And my guess is usually people aren't that succinct and like great at getting straight to the point. So what they do is they mess with the dialogue, they mess with it in the edit, and they use these clips of people eating and serving themselves and stuff to cover it so that it doesn't look really choppy and messed up, like if they were just training it on her face.
We penetrated that a little bit. My affirmation for you is that you continue on this journey to be open, and you really help your friends to feel close to you and heard by you.
Aww.
Okay, so as Ashley's talking, she says friends, they cut to Mia and they cut to Giselle, which obviously I don't think that they're exactly friends. So it's a little bit of like foreshadowing. Ashley's obviously the first one to start. She's doing exactly what the game is. You can tell Wendy is super happy about this. She's like, thank you, Ashley, for playing the game as it's supposed to be played. No shade, very open. Like you can tell Wendy is like pleased by this. But then they cut to Giselle, they cut to Mia sort of reacting, and we're like, that's right. These two are going to be doing this too. I wonder if it's going to be as clean when they do it.
Candiace, go.
Okay, so I didn't write anything down because you're my friend. I can say this from my heart. Oh. So
again, Candiace is over everything. She's like, I'm not even going to play the game to like write stuff down. I'm just talking today.
I met you and I recognized your wall because I can have a wall. But I will say that this year, you, for whatever reason, have opened up more. You are trusting.
By the way, that's what I was saying at the beginning of this video and talking too long, but she's doing it succinctly. There's something this year that's shifted in Wendy. She's put down her wall a little bit. She's a little bit more like relaxed with everything. It's overwhelming to try to keep up a facade, right? Especially with cameras and producers and cast members and all this stuff. This is a lot of work to keep this up.
Trusting us, some of us. And my affirmation for you would be, bitches get money.
Hello. Okay,
That's it.
Karen, go.
All right, so Wendy, I'm gonna stay seated. You and I started.
So they're really kind of pushing through these quick, right? So she finishes it with that thing and then she goes, all right, and then it cuts straight to Karen starts. So there's no pauses in between everyone. I just like to point this out to you guys because if you're ever in a group setting, it doesn't happen like it does on these shows. It doesn't happen so quickly. Not everyone has exactly the perfect things to say. When you're sitting at lunch with your friends, you guys don't have a team of editors trying to push the storyline forward. Remember, every single moment left in is either to push storyline forward, to push character development forward, to push relationships forward. Everything has to build. I believe that Potomac does the very best job of building. In Beverly Hills, you get a lot of like, she said this, no I didn't, yes I did, no I didn't, yes I did, next scene. You said this, no I didn't, yes I did. As an audience member, you start to get exhausted. It's exhausting, and so we focus more on like characters in some place like Beverly Hills because we're kind of over plot. The thing that Potomac does so well, in my opinion, is they have these like really wonderful layered characters, but they also have storyline that builds. You want someone to say something, and then someone says something else, and it adds a block. And then someone says something else, it adds a block. And it's not just like dramatic block, but like insight or context. That's what makes stuff interesting for us. We don't want to just hear people fighting. We want to hear them fighting towards an end goal, maybe resolution, or okay, now they're enemies for life, whatever it is. Potomac ladies do that very well. Here's what they're doing with this burn session. They're building. Ashley was the lowest building block because hers was pretty neutral and pretty cool, right? Candiace's was pretty cool as well. That was a really good place to go next. And then here we have Karen, and we're kind of building towards the end of the table, which is the Mia, Giselle, Robyn of it all. And so we are like, okay, we want to get there. We're not going to change the channel, which is the goal.
And I started off on a rocky path.
Yes.
Dr. Wendy was in the room. That's what she calls herself, right? So I'm like, doctor of what?
You were talking about me being a doctor and mimicking me, and you don't even have 1 degree.
but we've made so much progress. So, yeah, continued growth.
Okay, so they had to show just basically 2 flashbacks. They didn't need to do a whole montage of Karen and Wendy having, like, you know, all sorts of arguments. I don't even remember if they had all sorts of arguments. We're not like hanging on every breath of what Wendy and Karen have gone through. So we just need 2 quick flashbacks.
Growth to you.
Thank you, Karen.
Amen.
Okay, so mine you might want to burn.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Sometimes you are very dismissive.
So she says, mine you might want to burn, and you hear someone say, go ahead, and then there's sort of a pause drawn out.
Go ahead.
And then they cut to Wendy, and she sort of does this like, I'm here to receive it. But what I think is kind of funny in that moment is like, Wendy, to me, has like a thin skin in terms of like being able to take criticism, which is like, why would you do a party called a burn party where people are actually going to be like saying things to each other that, you know, need to be burned? It's just an odd choice for her. And I think that little reaction shot of her where she's like nodding, almost like, okay, I'm going to take it here. I think it's really telling and very like character development of Wendy. Although it's very subtle, to me, I watched it and I was like, yeah, like this is what it's about. And you are going to flip out because this is not what you like. You like what Ashley said, but you know this group of women, I don't know why you would do this.
Dismissive.
A real friend would have told her that her mom was the one being messy.
Are you talking? Shut up.
I am proud of you for hosting this situation.
Okay, so they show that quick flashback of her being dismissive. Again, we don't need a whole 10-minute flashback package of Wendy being dismissive. We just need that quick moment to Mia to sort of remind us like, oh yeah, she has been dismissive of Mia before. This is so technical and silly, but we get this nice kind of over-the-shoulder shot over Mia's shoulder to Wendy. I don't know why I love the way these shots look. I think it's a very beautiful angle of Wendy. I love having sort of like a dirty frame where you can see, you know, Mia's shoulder, which really just gives us this clue like this is between Mia and Wendy because Mia's still in the shot. It's not just like single shot on Mia, single shot on Wendy, single shot on Mia. They want to show a little bit more angles, which is just kind of fun for us as an audience and kind of makes it look more beautiful.
Because until today, I felt like there was no self-accountability.
So I'm not gonna be shady, but I'm just gonna burn this because we got burned.
Go for it, go for it.
All right.
I really do want to like her. She's just really...
Okay, so that was obviously, again, quickly moved through. I don't know if that was editing helping, but Wendy definitely wanted to move through that quickly. She's like, that's great, all that you said, but I'm gonna burn it really quickly. We as an audience, because the music starts to get sort of a little bit like...
I'm not gonna be shady, but I'm just gonna burn this because we got burned.
Go for it, go for it.
All right, it's not suspenseful, but it does show like we're getting somewhere a little bit interesting here, which is, again, that Wendy is so sensitive and she set up a party called a burn party. So Wendy's like, let's burn it. She seems to be moving faster and then the music kind of lends itself to that.
I think she's gonna receive it because she wants friends.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, Robyn.
So honestly, at this point, we are oil and water and I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Giselle.
So again, after she rips off the paper, they chose the angle over Robyn's shoulder, which again, I just like it aesthetically. I think it's nice, but it's also giving us, the audience, the feel like this is now between Robyn and Wendy. And also it's almost kind of like Robyn's point of view of Wendy. It's just a different angle. I just like to point this stuff out for you guys.
Your turn.
Ditto that. Also a little bit of a ditto with Mia. It's like, you went on a Giselle I hate train for a year. Then you see me and try to hug me, very fake and phonily.
Hi, Giselle.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No hugs. No hugs.
So it's just funny that as Giselle's kind of breaking her down, they keep cutting back to Wendy and she's like really kind of focused on this burning paper and she's like, oh, do I blow it out now? Like you can tell she is just so uncomfortable being in this conversation, and they keep cutting back to her showing her discomfort because they want to show like she's not excited about what they're saying. And again, why did she have this party?
No hugs. Oh, I'm beautiful. Good.
So I'm good on you.
Okay.
Do you hear that?
I heard everything you said. With Robyn, you said that we are oil and vinegar.
Water. Oil and vinegar go together.
Oh, okay.
Oil and water.
Okay, so then they cut to Ashley saying,
Do you hear that?
you called this meeting and now you're going to try to move through it, like you're just gonna blow out the fire or whatever, and then you're just gonna try to like, okay, let's move on to the next person. Like, no, the whole goal is to really like hear what people are saying and address it and move forward with it. And we're gonna really see some real resistance coming up with Miss Wendy. And again, this is from an editorial standpoint. They didn't have to leave in all of this. They could have just kind of gone with like, Giselle said her rude, shady thing, and then they moved on to the next person. But that wouldn't be building. That isn't building at all. At the beginning of this, we got that Wendy is like, we're doing a burn party, and she's acting like she's totally open to all of it. And now we're seeing like, she's not. She's not open to it. She's not open to the criticism. This is not going to go anywhere. And us as an audience should be like, oh, this is a disaster. Just like Candiace said at the very beginning of this scene, this is just not gonna go well.
Oil and water.
Okay, sorry. So I own the role I played in making you feel as though we are oil and water.
Well, okay, yes. Can I say, I just want to say, because Robyn has been specific with.
So when Wendy says that, like, housewife's apology, as it should be trademarked.
I own the role I played in making you feel as though we are oil and water.
In not so many words, like, I'm sorry that you feel the way you feel. They cut to Robyn and her face is just like, yeah, that's not an apology. That's not what we're doing here.
Specific with the ways that she feels she was hurt by you.
I can only speak to this though.
Well, okay, so. And
Don't nobody got time to be writing a soliloquy and a sermon.
Okay, so there it is. More resistance from Wendy. They cut to Robyn and Giselle, and they're both looking just like, yep, we knew it. Like, there's literally no reason to be doing this because you're not going to accept it. So those are the cuts.
Robyn, you know what you did to her? Good God.
Okay.
Just speak on it. She said, you gonna own what you did. What you do?
Well, she needs to tell
She
her.
needs to tell me.
Please don't tell anyone I tried to fight you anymore, because that is not who I am.
I heard that you.
Okay, I thought that cut kind of quickly. So she's like, you need to tell me what I did wrong, basically, and then they cut to Robyn. And Robyn looks like she's like about to cry.
Please don't tell anyone I tried to fight you anymore, because that is not who I am.
And I think it cut really fast from just that previous reaction shot where she's sitting there kind of laughing at what Giselle is saying.
To be writing a soliloquy.
To all of a sudden having some emotion in her eyes. They're a little bit closer on her. I believe there was a lot more in that conversation that led up to that moment where she's saying, please don't say, you know, the thing about the physical stuff.
Did you say you felt like Robyn was trying to fight you?
She was approaching me, and if you approach me to the extent that someone has to physically restrain you, then
Please be careful in your words, because that is dangerous.
It's dangerous for you to be.
Okay. So here is where we start to build. They are so lucky. They have footage like that footage of Wendy telling the group that, you know, Robyn had to be restrained from walking up to me. We haven't seen that as audience members. So we should all be leaning in. Anytime they show a flashback of something that we haven't seen before that's actually building the scene a little bit, we should all be leaning in. If you ever see some flashback footage that you haven't seen before, but that you're like, I'm not that interested in it, it's usually because it's not really lending much to the scene. Here, right here, this is lending a lot because this is a storyline I don't think we've heard too much about, if at all. And now here we are cutting back to Wendy telling Ashley that, you know, Robyn had to be restrained. I'm like, wait, and Robyn's like so emotional about it. This is where Potomac does such a great job of building because these are things we haven't seen and they're heightening the scene. So we want to keep watching.
Was not held back.
You were held back. Maybe you were so drunk you don't remember.
She was
You
not.
were held back. Okay, so we are going to move forward.
Why are we moving forward?
Let us move on.
Nobody had to told me
Let's
that.
just dispel that one.
Okay, so of course, Wendy's like, nope, let's move on. And they're like, oh no, this is what we are here for.
I'm not going to dispel it because that's my truth to
No,
talk
that is
about.
not your truth. It's
That's
a
my
lie.
truth.
No one had to touch me. I'm not a thug. I don't put my hands
No
on
one
people.
called you a thug. You are projecting on yourself.
Okay, so that little cut to Robyn's hand like shaking as she's holding her phone about to call Charisse. This is what I'm talking about, heightening. We're like, wait, what is happening now? Who's about to call Charisse? I remember I had to look back and be like, whose phone is that? What is happening?
Hold on, I need a moment.
Charisse is on the phone.
I need everyone to be quiet. Charisse.
Yes, love.
At the dance studio, did you put one finger on me to prevent me from touching Wendy?
Stand 10 toes down. Everything I say.
So I loved this because obviously what we're about to see is that Robyn is so adamant that she was not touched by Charisse in this scene. And we're gonna see that Charisse touched her and stopped her and even like had to stand up and push her back multiple times, but she's so adamant about it. And she asks Charisse and she's like, and the editors let it play out where she asks her and the flashback doesn't even come in that fast.
To prevent me from touching Wendy.
They let her get out her full sentence to Charisse, even give it a beat after she says it, and then we get the flashback.
Stand on.
I'm standing on it.
Period. I'm sitting and I still stand. What you not gonna do? What you not gonna do?
Okay, so they not only showed the flashback, but as Charisse is pushing her back with all 10 fingers, not just one finger, Robyn, they slow that footage down, and even as they're slowing it down, the contrast starts to get a little bit increased. So the darks get a little bit darker, the lights get a little bit lighter. We are watching it like in slow motion, and then we cut back to Charisse and...
No.
Thank you. I love you too. Bye.
So that's a really comedic effect what they did. They did that knife sharpening sound. We're all waiting. What is she going to say? And Charisse just says,
No.
It's hilarious for so many reasons. It's character building for Charisse because I don't know about you guys, but I think I would remember if I had to kind of like push my friend back, like stop and stand up. That would be something that in my head I would remember. I feel like Charisse remembers it too, but she literally in this moment, I think just decides like, I'm on Robyn's side. I'm not gonna say that I did that. That's character building for Charisse. It makes me love Charisse for this show even more. I was never like the biggest Charisse fan, but after her watching her say that no, I was like, I am so excited for Charisse to be back. And then they cut to Dr. Wendy. I don't know if Wendy's face is just like, well, there's no reason to even try to prove this right now, or if she's starting to think about it, like maybe she didn't. I don't know what it is.
I love you too. Bye.
So why the lies?
My truth,
The lies.
your truth.
She just
Yo,
said
you
she didn't
horrible.
touch Robyn.
You are horrible.
Why are you yelling?
Because you are horrible.
Maybe you should control your emotions.
Okay, so here it really starts to devolve, Giselle and Robyn calling Wendy a liar and going crazy while Wendy's pretty calm, and we've already seen that there are some receipts that none of it happened the way that Robyn is saying. The one thing I want you guys to look at is now that Robyn is yelling and sort of moving her hand, this is after she supposedly already said goodbye to Charisse. You can see that Charisse is actually still on FaceTime, which makes me think either she didn't say goodbye to her and she just left her on FaceTime so Charisse could watch this go down, or the scene is not cut sequentially. So she lost her mind and then she said goodbye to Charisse. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? I never know in these scenes, what's going on kind of like behind the scenes or what they're cutting around, because this actually, it did feel like it was cut in succession, but her still having Charisse on the phone kind of tells us otherwise. So what do you guys think?
I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a
Robyn is really, I feel like Robyn maybe feels like she's on the chopping block, so she's really kind of bringing it this season.
horrible.
Maybe you should control your emotions.
I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a
So another little moment of contrast there. They show these establishing shots of the vineyard, which look, beautiful, like chain link fence and these barrels of wine and these beautiful fields. And what do we hear in the background?
You are horrible.
It's very contrasting to the beautiful sort of, serene establishing shots of this vineyard.
I'm out.
Robyn, if I knew your middle name,
I
Dixon.
said what I
So as she's screaming, right, the music is getting more heightened and heightened and heightened.
I don't give a
And then it bang ends and she goes,
I'm out.
the music was kind of going along with her little temper tantrum, if you want to call it that. And then it ends on a bang, and then she says, I'm out.
Said what I had to say. This is some phony ass bullshit. She literally brought us here on the strength of wanting to get to a better place. And the fact that she still wants to try to prove me wrong, like there's no moving forward.
So these are what I want to start calling, I don't know, I'm not good at naming things, but I want to call them like reunion moments. I want to see Robyn watch that all go down when she's so adamant, she's storming out of this place, she's screaming in the middle of a restaurant. I want to see Robyn be addressed by that. Like, I want to see it go down in the reunion. I love these moments. I love them on all of the franchises. When you watch something, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait for them to watch the episode and then be confronted by Andy. So what are we gonna call those? Reunion moments? I'm not sure.
Forward here.
I don't see why Robyn got up.
It's sort of broken what you tried to attempt here.
If she's in her feelings and doesn't want to deal with phony fake then she can.
This isn't phony and fake. I brought people to the table who have difference of opinions together.
Honestly, all the screaming came from your side of the table. I'm trying to figure out why.
Karen, of course, speaking some truth, being a bit of a voice of reason, but also anchoring for us because it's true. Not only was Robyn, screaming about a lie, she was really screaming from the side of the table. All of Wendy's reaction shots were very calm.
Side of the table, I'm trying to figure out why.
I like to talk loud, damn it. I'm just making sure everybody can hear me in the group.
It doesn't help the group to move forward, Giselle.
Doesn't.
We went straight to hell in a basket from jump. They wouldn't even follow her directions. The evil spirit of the winery belongs to Giselle and Robyn.
She was addressing her response.
Okay, so you can hear the music kind of helping along Karen's like funny little confessional there.
Follow her directions. The evil spirit of the winery belongs to Giselle and Robyn.
She was addressing.
It's kind of starting, and then it stops, and she says the thing about the evil spirits. It's just funny. I love when they use music to sort of bolster a confessional or sort of make a housewife funnier or more poignant than they are. I think Karen is funny and poignant, but that music cue right there just helped it along a little bit more.
That's not how therapy works, actually. If you look at therapy, that's not how it works. We need a therapist if we're going to therapy.
Actually, I'm in a therapy session?
No,
we're not in a therapy
We're
session.
in a winery, a vineyard. That's where we are.
This is real dumb.
And we're having a...
Okay, so I love that. I think the thing about Wendy that I really love is that at the end of the day, she's just a nerd. She might be beautiful and she might have, these great boobs and everything now, but she's a nerd. So when she tries...
The burn session.
Goodbye.
And now she's trying to do this sort of theatrical, like, funny thing.
We're in a winery, a vineyard. That's where we are.
This is real dumb.
I really resonate with her. When I was little, like a little kid, I would like try to say funny things in groups, and I just wasn't that funny. And I feel like Wendy has a little bit of that too. Even when she tries to be funny right there, everyone kind of gives her like a look. There's like a pause there, and then Giselle says that funny line.
This is real dumb.
It's all kind of hilarious to me.
We're having a burn session, but some people have opted out.
Who's the therapist? It damn sure ain't you, Wendy. I know you got a whole lot of degrees, but it ain't in psychology. You're a doctor of just being whack.
Put my Uggs on.
Okay, so a common tactic to make something funnier is to pull the music out and push in. I do it sometimes on this channel, not necessarily to make myself funnier, but to make emphasis. And they did it here with Giselle in the confessional, which is sort of a unique thing to Potomac. They do it sometimes in other cities, but Potomac tends to play with the confessionals a little bit more. Like, they punched in on her, the music stopped when she said her thing about
it ain't in psychology. You're a doctor of just being whack.
Put my Uggs on and get comfortable. It's some fake ass people up in there.
This is enough.
I do have something that I would like to discuss with Candiace.
Okay, so we are about to shift gears away from Wendy and the whole thing. They cut out to Robyn in the Sprinter van, kind of taking off her boots and being like, this is so fake. Again, I feel like this is like reunion moments. I feel like Robyn must have been watching this episode. If she wasn't cringing, what was she doing? She had so much conviction and she was totally wrong. So now they're cutting back in, and this is where, again, Housewives of Potomac, they do such a great job of layering and heightening. So this whole thing with Wendy, if this was on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know we'd be talking about this Wendy burn conversation for the rest of time. But instead, we move on to other things. Ashley, who kind of started the day being sort of neutral in the little burn session with Wendy, now turns her attention to Candiace. Now remember, we've just watched a scene with Ashley and Candiace actually getting along in Candiace's house, talking like girlfriends, you know, and so when Ashley says,
I do have something that I would like to discuss with Candiace.
we're like, wait, what is going down here? Because this is going to be majorly bad if it's something bad.
Oh,
Lord, I can't.
So my friend was at the spring party, and she said that, you know, Chris was being a little bit flirty with her. She was standing at the bar ordering a drink.
So the music is out when Ashley's saying this.
So my friend was at the spring party.
They don't need music to add to this drama because this is drama on its own. When they cut back to Candiace, we get that big knife sharpening sound because we know what's going on in Candiace's head. We've seen this side of Candiace that we don't want to see ever again. And then they cut to Mia drinking a drink.
She was standing at the bar ordering a
because Mia, remember, had this same exact allegation saying that Chris was watching her at the party when the editors shadily cut to the party where Chris was not looking at Mia at all.
The bar ordering a drink, and he came up and he was like just being a little bit flirtatious with her.
What is the purpose of this? Because we were together in my home.
Okay, so Candiace is really trying to hold it together in this moment, talking to Ashley like, what are we doing here again? The one thing I want to point out from an editorial standpoint is she does not break the fourth wall again like she did in that first scene at the dance studio. In the dance studio, she got it all out with our favorite producer, Eric, second only to Doug in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I don't know if they had a talking to her. I don't know if she had a moment at home like, okay, I'm on this show, I've got to play ball. But she doesn't turn to the cameras and shut it down, this storyline here. She is here to play. She's going to play along, but she's doing her very best to sort of ride the line here.
This came to me recently.
This came to you after you were at my house?
Correct. It really did.
Okay, and you couldn't have called me, texted me,
I knew I was going to be seeing you, so wouldn't you rather me tell you to your...
So basically what Candiace is saying, without breaking the fourth wall, is like, you couldn't have done this off camera. You're friends with me, we had a friendly thing, and now you're just going to do it on camera. But she's not saying all that. She's saying it in a polite, very housewives-y way.
I have come to you privately because I wanted to be respectful of you. It starts right there, and you can just go scroll down.
So they have that nice flashback of her when she was actually, I do remember this scene so specifically, when she got that text originally from her friend about Michael, you know, in the hotel room. I remember her looking at a camera person and breaking the fourth wall and actually asking them, like, you know, did you get that? Did you get her name? Like, I remember her being careful with this information. I don't know if you guys remember it the same, but she was careful with the information as she brought it to Ashley. She brought it to her very nicely, although she didn't bring it to her on camera, but she did bring it to her in a different way than, you know, Ashley, you know, doing it at the group in front of the cameras when she had other options.
Okay. He was asking who we can take to a hotel nearby? As you want to call Michael a predator every which way, okay?
Well,
if your husband...
documented. Is it not true?
Okay, so after she says it's documented, you can hear there's a long pause.
Your husband...
documented.
No music, that's for effect.
This is now the third time somebody's coming to me in the group to tell me some bullshit about my husband.
But why are you getting defensive if it just
Because
happens?
I see the pattern, and I'm not going to ignore the pattern.
Has anyone said anything about Chris in the past?
Not to my face.
No, they have not.
Not
Do
to
you
my
think
face.
that maybe Chris's behavior is a little bit different, and he's doing things a little bit differently for whatever?
Okay, so this is, again, the reason I wanted to talk about this scene in particular. Ashley's not just hitting the same points over and over. She's bringing in new stuff. Have these things happened in the past? Do you think there's something different going on? Like, these are the real things that we have in conversation. These are the things that the Potomac women ask of each other because they're having real conversations. They're less aware of the cameras, in my opinion, and it's just gold to me. It makes it interesting for us. It adds layers to the scene. It adds layers to the relationships that make us want to watch and keep coming back for more.
Whatever reason.
I think you're taking a
because
page
Mia
out of
also said that she
your
felt that Chris
book
was looking at her at the spring party.
What?
He was.
Go, baby. Go, Gordon.
But I didn't say that it was.
Okay, so the shadiest flashback ever again of Chris absolutely not looking at Mia, and they have that Chiron on there. And of course, Candiace's face when she looks at Mia is hilarious. Like, are you serious? We're doing this.
I didn't say that it was sexual, but he definitely was staring.
Chris is not doing any of these. He's not doing these things.
Just remember, the pendulum always swings the other way, okay? It don't feel good, huh?
Aha, there
It doesn't feel good.
There it is. What did she say?
Okay, so there it is. Yes, so when Ashley says this,
The pendulum always swings the other way, okay?
they show the
It don't
reactions
feel
of
good,
everyone
huh?
going, like, oh, there's a different reason why Ashley is bringing this up. And I totally agree when Candiace says, there it is. It's, yeah, Ashley maybe trying to get Candiace back for some of the things that have happened in the past.
Should have kept my good eye on that bulbous ass forehead bitch. I knew she wasn't no good, and I went against my better judgment, and look at us now.
You comes from a place of vindictiveness.
Okay, again, just like I asked you guys at the beginning of this epically long episode, I'm so sorry. They cut to Giselle and she's putting on lip gloss. Why? I think to me, it's the same sort of vibe as when someone is eating or drinking or something like that. It's what's going on underneath the business they're doing. Like, what's going on underneath the action. Giselle is judging all of this. She cannot wait to get in the car and call Robyn. There's so much going on that we can relate to as an audience.
No!
Nastiness and evilness. You're a lying vindictive bitch.
Do you just want to turn a blind eye? Because that's the case, and just say so.
Well, I mean, you would
Just
know.
say. Just
So
say.
you can hear the music sort of swell as Ashley's asking her that.
Because that's the case, and just say so.
Right as Candiace gives her the retort, the music bang.
Well, I mean, you would
Just
know.
say.
This is just another example of them using music to put an emphasis on something, to help someone say something and have it sound more shady, more poignant. It really just helps whoever's on screen.
I address my husband and my relationship very well, okay? Now, whether you do or not, that remains to be seen. I've also heard that Chris has been in some other DMs that are not quite as innocuous and innocent as mine.
So amazing. Okay, so that ending is what got me like, oh my God, I cannot wait to discuss this with you guys. Ashley's saying, you know, my husband has addressed everything perfectly. The reaction shots of the women are so perfect and right on, like, is that really true? And then as Ashley starts ramping up saying there have been other DMs sent to other people that maybe not as innocuous as what was sent to me, the music is swelling and getting more dramatic. It sounds like a war scene.
I also heard that Chris has been in some other DMs that are not quite as innocuous and innocent as mine.
Everything's going on, dun 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 dun, reaction shot, reaction shot, reaction shot, reaction shot, and dun, the music stops. We get the establishing shot of the winery. It starts to fade to black and white, and the contrast gets really heavy, and then it's the to be continued. Very dramatic, all sort of editing tricks, you know, the reaction shots, the establishing shot, all of that stuff is just to make us super excited for next week's episode, which I personally am. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love this franchise. That is my epically long video to cover that 9-minute scene. I am so sorry, but hopefully you got all of your cleaning done. I am so grateful to you guys for everything that you do. I'm playing catch up right now, so I will be covering some of the Salt Lake stuff. If there's anything from Salt Lake that you guys would like to see, put it in the comments below. And until next time.
Actually, I address my husband and my relationship very well, okay? Now, whether you do or not, that remains to be seen.
Goodbye.
This is real dumb.
Wow, it's